They say, the knife that is hidden cuts the deepest. In the heart of Seoul's busiest subway line, where thousands rush by every minute, one woman faced her worst fear. Not from a stranger in the dark, but from a man she already knew. The city that never sleeps. Seoul, a city of 10 million people. The subway here is the city's pulse, fast, efficient, packed with stories. Every day, millions ride these trains without fear. But on that September night, deep below ground at Sindang Station, that sense of safety shattered. The victim. She was a 28-year-old Seoul Metro worker, diligent, polite, and ambitious. Her job was to ensure safety for passengers on Line 2, one of the busiest routes in South Korea. Her colleagues described her as quiet, hardworking, someone who believed in doing the right thing. What they didn't know was that she'd been living in fear for more than a year. The stalker, Jeon Joo-hwan. Her stalker was a 31-year-old man named Jeon Joo-hwan, a former coworker at Seoul Metro. When she rejected his advances, Jeon couldn't accept it. He began sending her hundreds of threatening messages, harassing calls, and even illegally filming her. The victim filed multiple police reports, begging for protection. In 2021, Jeon was fired from Seoul Metro, but the stalking continued. For over a year, he plotted revenge from the shadows. September 14, 2022, the attack. That evening, around 9 p.m., Jeon entered Sindang Station, wearing a mask and carrying a knife. CCTV later showed him waiting near the women's restroom for more than an hour. When the victim arrived to start her shift, he followed her inside. Echoed through the tiled hallway. Coworkers rushed in, finding her bleeding on the floor. Jeon had stabbed her multiple times before security could intervene. She was taken to hospital, but didn't survive. The capture. Police arrested Jeon at the scene, his clothes soaked in blood. He showed no remorse, saying only, "She ruined my life." That statement would echo across South Korea, igniting nationwide anger. The nation's outcry. The Sindang Station murder sparked mass protests and candlelight vigils. People demanded tougher laws against stalking and more accountability from police. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol called for urgent reforms. Within weeks, the government strengthened the anti-stalking law, allowing pre-trial detention for dangerous offenders. Trial and sentencing. In 2023, Jeon Joo-hwan stood trial for murder and stalking. The court found him guilty and sentenced him to life imprisonment. The judge declared, he planned the murder with clear intent and no mercy. The sentence was upheld in 2024. Aftermath. A plaque now stands inside Sindang Station, near the women's restroom, a quiet reminder of the life lost there. Her death changed South Korean law, ensuring victims of stalking can now receive immediate protection orders. But for many, the pain remains. They ask the same haunting question: why must someone die before the system listens? Outro. This was the 2022 Seoul Subway murder, a tragedy that exposed the dangers of silence and delay. What began as harassment became a headline, and a life lost to obsession. Do you think justice was enough? Should stalking laws everywhere be stricter? Case number 2. The true crime fan who became a killer, the 2023 yoo-jung murder case, _ There's an old proverb, curiosity killed the cat. But for one woman in Bisan, curiosity took a human life. In 2023, a 23-year-old woman, obsessed with true crime stories, decided to make one of her own. Her name was yoo-jung, and what she did would horrify an entire nation. But behind every killer, there's a victim, a person with dreams, a future, and a family waiting for a call that would never come. The girl who studied crime. Yoo-jung wasn't the typical killer. She was quiet, polite, and invisible. A college dropout, unemployed, and living with her grandfather in Bisan. She spent hours inside the local public library, devouring true crime books and watching documentaries about murder investigations. To her, every killer's story was a puzzle, and she wanted to solve it by becoming part of it. The victim, the tutor who trusted. The victim was a freelance English tutor in her mid-20s, bright, responsible, and known among her students for her patience. Her friends called her kind and hardworking. She had recently graduated from a university in Bizen and dreamed of saving enough money to study abroad. Her days were quiet, mornings spent preparing lessons, evenings teaching online or at her small apartment. She used a popular tutoring app to find students, and that's where she met the girl who would take her life. She likely thought it was just another normal day, another student who needed help. She had no idea the student waiting at her door wasn't coming to learn, but to kill. The disguise. Jung bought a high school uniform online, practiced her speech, and memorized her fake story. She wanted to look harmless, just another shy teenage girl. She had watched dozens of true crime shows, studying killers who disguised themselves to get close to their victims. Jung's search history later revealed chilling entries like how to pose as a student, best ways to hide identity, and how to clean a crime scene. Every step was planned like a scene from a movie, but this time, it was real. The attack. On May 26, 2023, Jung arrived at the victim's apartment in Jeonjong District, Bizen. Inside, she quietly laid out her notes and pretended to be nervous about her first lesson. Moments later, she pulled out a knife. The victim likely didn't even have time to scream. Jung stabbed her more than 100 times, a frenzy of curiosity and cruelty. Police later said Jung stayed in the apartment for hours, cleaning, cutting, and wrapping the body in layers of cloth before placing it inside a large suitcase. The forest and the river. That night, Jung dragged the suitcase out of the apartment and called a taxi. She told the driver she was taking out trash. The driver later recalled how the suitcase was unusually heavy and stiff. Her destination, a remote forest area near the Nakdong River, about 30 kilometers from the city. There, under the trees, she began dumping the remains. The forest was quiet, only the sound of wind through the leaves, until the driver's suspicion reached the police. The digital trail. When detectives searched Jung's phone, what they found shocked them even more than the crime. She had spent weeks researching how to kill without being caught, how to dispose of a body, famous unsolved murders. What happens to a body after death? She even followed online true crime forums and Reddit threads, asking subtle questions about disposal methods. Her YouTube watch history was filled with forensic documentaries and real interrogation videos. To her, every video was a lesson, and every killer was a teacher. The confession. When confronted with the evidence, Jung confessed. She told investigators, "I was curious about murder. I wanted to know what it felt like. No rage, no guilt, just curiosity." Trial and sentence. In November 2023, the Bizen District Court sentenced Jeon Joo-hwan to life imprisonment. The judge described her as dangerously detached from humanity. He added, she killed to satisfy her curiosity, not from impulse or revenge. Her cold composure during trial became a symbol of pure detachment, a mind consumed by fantasy, the victim's memory. While headlines focused on the killer, the true tragedy was the life lost. The victim's students described her as someone who believed kindness could fix people. She loved reading English novels, especially Jane Eyre, and dreamed of opening her own tutoring center someday. Her parents said she was their only daughter, their pride, their hope. That one act of violence didn't just end a life, it shattered a family, a dream, and a future. This was the story of Jeon Joo-hwan, the true crime fan who turned fiction into blood. In her search for meaning, she took away someone else's. Do you think media influences such crimes, or was she already destined for darkness? Comment your thoughts below and subscribe for more stories where truth is darker than imagination.